Hey everyone, welcome back to the reactjs course. So in this video we'll be exploring about the React forms, and if you find this interesting, let's get started right away. So controlled inputs is a way of setting up of input fields whenever a user is given a form to submit. So we'll be implementing that in this video. Also we'll be storing whatever the user is typing inside of the input field. So let's say we have an input field for the email and password. So we'll give the user a form, okay? And after the user types in the value, we are going to store it inside of state, and then we'll be displaying it on the web page. Okay, and in the later part of the video we'll be implementing the submit part too. So for now, let's get started about the form. So inside my app.js, after the h2 tag, let me write my form tag, and the first thing is, let's take a label. This is gonna have the username. So after my label, let me write the input tag. So the type is gonna be of text. Okay, so after the text, yeah, I think that's it for now. Yeah, we also need to give the placeholder. So placeholder is gonna be username. Again, we have a second label for the password. After this, we have again the input field to type in the password. So over here, the type is gonna be password, that is the secure text entry is enabled, and the placeholder is going to be password itself. Okay, so let's just capitalize things. So next thing we want is a field for the input, that is email. So let's write email, and then let's again write our input tag. So over here the type is gonna be of email. Okay, next we have the placeholder is gonna be email. Okay, so next let's have a select option to select the places. Okay, so let's say select tag. The first thing comes is the option. Let's provide the value over here. Okay, let's start writing the places. So Bangalore, let's write option again. We're going to provide three options for the select tag. Let's write Delhi now. And let's also provide the last option, right? So option, it's gonna have the value, and over here also. Okay, so let's save the file once. Let's go back to the web page once. Yeah, so as you can see, we are getting all the input tags with the top text that we have initialized, and we're even getting the select option as well. Okay, so initially Bangalore is selected because that's the first option inside a select tag. So now let's style this a bit. Okay, it's not looking that good, so we are going to use inline styling for now. So let's go to the form, and then let's write style. We're going to say display in grid, and then the place items of center. Okay, save the file once. Let's check that out if it worked. Yeah, so that has come to the center. It's working fine. Let's remove the h2 tag, that's not required. So for now, as you can see, there is some space option, space problem over here. So let's give a overall space to the first label, or we can give it over here itself to the form. So margin top of 50. All right, so now for the second label, let's provide some margin top because it's almost touching the first one. So let's say style, and then a margin top of 10. All right, there is also some space problem between the input field and the label. So for the first input, let's give a style and a margin top of 10. Okay, yeah, so now if you press on the input, there is the focus thing that should not be there. Okay, the outline is blue, so let's remove the outline part. So over here, let's also give it a width of 200 and then outline of none and a bit of padding, let's say 4. Yeah, so now it's working fine. So pretty much let's write the same piece of styling for the remaining inputs that we have. So one thing over here and over here as well. All right, so now let's come back and check. Yeah, everything is looking good. So for the third label, let's provide the spacing. We have not given that over here. So style, it's gonna have a margin top of 10. Okay, yeah, now everything is looking good except the select part. So for that also, let's give a margin top of 10 and then the width, right? The width is gonna be 200 for all input fields. So yeah, I think now it's looking pretty decent. So now let's let's implement in such a way that we are storing all of the values that the user is typing in the input field. So for that, we'll be making use of state. So over here at the top, let's first initialize the state values. So first one is for the username. So let's write const username comma set username equals to useState, imported from React, and the initial value we'll be passing is an empty string because at the initial states there is nothing written, right? So the second one is for the email and then set email equals to useState of the empty string again. So the third one is for the password, right? So const password and then set password equals to useState. Okay, so for the last one is for the option. So const option comma set option equals to useState of an empty string again. Yeah, so we have set up the required state. Okay, now let's come to the input field and then provide the value. So the value for the first input field, that is username, is going to be the username itself that is stored inside of state. Next is it's going to take something called as onChange, that is if there is change in value, we are going to set that value. So onChange equals to e, and then let's take set username. Let's access that function modifier and we're going to say e dot target dot value. So whatever the user is typing, we are setting it over here and the value is going to be stored in state. So that's why we are giving the value prop over here and the value is going to be username. Okay, so let's do the similar thing for all the inputs. So for the second one, that is the password. So the value is going to be password. And next is the onChange again. So onChange equals to e. So let's access the set password. And yeah, it's pretty much going to be e.target.value. Now for the third one, the value is going to be email and onChange so let us set the email. So set email to be e.target.the-value. Yeah, so over here also, that is for the select tag, let's give onChange. Let's access this option that you're selecting, that is a set option modifier. This is from the state, yeah, set option to the e.target.value. So we are basically setting whatever we click on to inside of state. Okay, so it's stored inside of option. So the value is going to be option. Yeah, so now for the select tag, I think it's not going to show anything. Okay, it's showing the first one. I thought because we're storing it inside of state, it's just going to show an empty string. Yeah, but it's working fine. So now after the form, we're gonna create a div tag. Okay, and we're gonna display everything whatever we type. Okay, because we're storing it inside of state. So let's say h4 So username is gonna be the username. Let's give that a try. Okay, never mind, it's coming towards the top left again. So again, just copy the style for the top form and then give it to the div. So this will come towards the center. Yeah, so let's start writing the username. Yes, so you can see as we are typing inside the input field, we are storing it inside of state and then we are displaying it over here, right? So for the password as well, let's give a random password and let's select the email. Okay, and then place, let's select a random place. Okay, now similarly, let us start writing the other fields on the screen. So username, password is gonna be the password. Okay, so next we have is the, I guess it's gonna be the email. So email is gonna be email itself. So now the last one is the place, right? So place, I think it's stored inside of option. Yeah, so save the file once. Yeah, so as you can see, we are able to store everything inside of state. Okay, the username is this thing, this is the password I entered, and then we have the email as well as the place that we selected. Okay, so if you change, everything is going to change, and again it's going to work. Let's give it one more try. So let's write the username and some random password. Let's write an email as well as let's change the place to the third one. Yeah, so as you can see, we are able to store everything, all of the field values inside of state. So this is only about the storing part, that is inside state. We are going to do the submit part in the next part of the video. So I think that's it about the control inputs part. So let's see you in the next video, and then thank you for watching.